All right, my magnificent Leo souls, gather close and let your beautiful hearts hear this. Welcome back to Cosmic Wisdom, your sacred space for diving deep into the celestial currents that shape our lives. I'm your guide, and today we stand on the threshold of something incredibly profound, a message the universe is whispering directly to you. Have you been feeling it? A subtle sense that something is about to shift, a quiet knowing deep within your radiant soul that a chapter is drawing to a close. Perhaps you've had moments where you've sensed a storm gathering on the horizon, but when you looked, the skies were clear. You felt a truth no one else could see, not with logic, not with proof, but with the undeniable certainty of your lion's heart. You were right, because this September, my dear Leo, an old tragedy is attempting to make a final curtain call in your life. But listen closely. It is not here to destroy you. It is here to test your sovereignty. It is here to ask one crucial question. Have you finally learned how to protect your own sacred fire? In this journey together today, I want to walk with you through the radiant chambers of your heart. We will explore 4 pivotal turning points that are unfolding for you right now, this very month. And I ask you, with all my heart, to stay with me for one moment in particular, a moment of truth that holds the power not only to save you from this silent tragedy, but to resurrect the brilliant golden dreams that you thought had faded to embers within you. And before we step into this sacred space, let's create a powerful wave of intention together. If you are ready to reclaim your throne and step into your most radiant power, I want you to go down to the comments right now and declare, "I am the ruler of my own heart." Let that be our sacred contract today. And if you haven't already, please do press that subscribe button to become a part of our beautiful Cosmic Wisdom family. We are on this journey together, and I want to ensure you never miss these life-altering cosmic insights. Now, let us begin. The first place we must revisit, my dear Leo, is your own generous, magnificent heart, a kingdom you left wide open for someone who never understood the honor of being invited inside. There were times you saw a soul shivering in the cold, and without a second thought, you wrapped them in your own royal cloak, forgetting that you too would be left exposed to the wind. You possess a heart that shines like the sun itself, Leo. When you love, you don't just offer warmth, you offer your entire solar system. You paused your own magnificent projects, silenced your own needs, and dimmed your own brilliant light, all to become the unwavering source of heat for someone lost in their own winter. You did this not because they demanded it, but because your royal nature cannot bear to see another in darkness when you possess so much light. You didn't help them out of obligation. You helped because it is your very essence to shine, to lead, to protect. But here is the cosmic truth we must face together. You didn't just offer them a candle, you handed them the sun. And that, my beautiful friend, is the first tragedy. Not that your love failed, but that you placed the most sacred part of you, your radiant, life-giving light, into the hands of someone who saw it not as a gift, but as a utility. That person wasn't evil, oh no. They were simply a black hole. They didn't want to learn how to build their own fire. They just wanted to orbit your warmth, to feel the comfort of your light without ever tending to the flame themselves. They needed someone to make their world bright, so they wouldn't have to face their own shadows. And you, in your magnificent generosity, showed up and became their personal sunrise, day after day. You stood like a mighty lighthouse, taking the brunt of every storm so they could rest safely in the harbor of your strength. You listened to their endless stories of sorrow. You absorbed their chaos. And when the performance was over, you were the one left alone on an empty stage with an exhausted heart that no one else could see. You called it love, my dear, but love is not a solo performance. Love is not, "I will shine brightly enough for the both of us. Just please stay and applaud." Love is two suns shining together, celebrating each other's light, not one star burning itself out to illuminate the darkness of another. In the great spiritual traditions, we are taught that a true guide doesn't carry the student on their back. They light a torch and show them the way, trusting them to walk their own path. And you, dear Leo, you did too much. You carried them. You burned for them. You became the entire production for them, while they never even learned their lines. You were holding the space for their healing so effectively that you gave them a beautiful excuse to never heal. But what about you? Your own inner fire was slowly being depleted, not because you loved incorrectly, but because you loved so grandly that you forgot the first rule of any great ruler. You must protect your own kingdom first. Those who do not wish to be saved will use your light until you are nothing but ash. You have roared in silence, not for your own wounds, but because you saw their potential so clearly and they refused to see it in themselves. You stayed, you waited, you prayed, you believed that if your light was just bright enough, they would finally wake up. But some people don't want to wake up, my love. Not because they are cruel, but because waking up requires the courage to face the day. And you had enough courage for the both of you. Do you hear me, Leo? You do not need to be any stronger. You just need to stop trying to be the sun for planets that are not in your orbit. A king does not strip his own castle of its treasures to furnish the home of a passing traveler. He loves by standing in his power, radiant and whole. His gates are open, but he does not allow his throne to be taken. That is what true, divine love is. It is sitting with someone in the dark, while keeping your own flame gloriously lit. You can share your light, but you do not extinguish it for anyone. You can listen to their story, but you do not make their tragedy your own. You have been the lead actor in someone else's drama for so long that when the curtain fell, you almost forgot who you were without the role. You didn't love to share a life. You loved to be the life for them. You were never meant to carry their darkness. That is not your destiny. That was a choice. And today, you have the divine right to choose again. Take a deep, cleansing breath, my beautiful lion. Let your heart reclaim its throne. You are not retreating. You are remembering your power. You are not here to burn out. You are here to shine. And the first kingdom you must rule with grace and wisdom is your own. No one can save another, Leo. We can only stand beside them, like magnificent stars in the same sky, sharing our light, sharing our hope. But each of us must be the center of our own universe. If they are not ready to shine, you must let them go. You don't have to sacrifice your brilliant destiny so that someone else can learn a lesson they are still refusing. You are a king, a queen. You are not a crutch. It is time to untie the golden cord that tethers you to the one who refuses to rise and return. Return to yourself. Return to the magnificent kingdom you left untended. But you know what, Leo? This was only the surface. What we've just discussed is the shadow play on the wall. What is about to rise from within you is the truth you have been so bravely denying. And that is the truth we must face in this next part, not to suffer, but to finally, gloriously be free. If you have ever chosen to be the sun for someone who only brought you clouds, write this in the comments below, not as a complaint, but as a sacred ritual of release. Write, "From today, I reclaim my light. And now, Leo, come with me. Let's journey to a deeper place, where the truth is waiting to set you free. Are you ready? The truth didn't come to hurt you, magnificent soul. It came to restore you to your throne. You see, you're not afraid to know they don't love you the way you love them. That's not the core of it. Your fear, dear Leo, is the terrifying silence after the grand performance is over. You're afraid that after pouring every ounce of your heart, your light, your soul into this production, you will realize the theater was empty all along. And for a soul as radiant as yours, that perceived failure feels like the ultimate wound. But my dear, the truth doesn't come to tell you that you failed. The truth comes to release you from a role you were never meant to play in the first place. You once lived in a beautiful kingdom you built entirely within your own heart. A world where one day they would finally see your worth. A day they would turn to you with tears in their eyes and finally understand the magnificent gift you are. A moment they would come back, crown you as the center of their world, and everything would be made right. You built a golden castle in your mind to make up for the cold and empty hut they offered you in reality. You have been living between these two worlds. On the outside, their inconsistency, their lack of effort, their absence. On the inside, your expectations, your hopes, your script for a miracle that never came. You kept telling yourself, one day, but my dear Leo, for this role, one day was never going to come. And every time you swallowed that truth, it didn't dissolve. It piled up like a heavy weight on your royal heart. You're not hurt because they left or failed you. You're hurt because your magnificent intuition knew all along, and you still stayed on stage, hoping for a different ending. You're hurt because your soul roared the truth, and you chose to believe in the beautiful fiction instead. There is a sacred teaching that says, the truth shall set you free. It doesn't say the truth will be comfortable. Freedom rarely is at first. So let's look, my brave Leo. Let's look at what is. They didn't rise to the occasion. They didn't see your worth. They didn't love you the way a soul like yours deserves to be loved. And all of that is the truth. But that truth is not a judgment on your magnificence. It is a key. It is the key that unlocks the door to your own kingdom. Because you have been lost in a story you wrote for someone else. You turned your heart into a stage and let someone else stand in your spotlight, in a role they were never worthy of. Leo, you love with your entire being. You believe in the best in people, and that is your superpower. But you cannot keep loving a version of someone that exists only in your imagination, because every day you stay in that theater, waiting for them to become the character you wrote, is another day you deny the truth and diminish your own light. They are not who you dreamed they would be, and that is not your fault. It is not anyone's fault. It is simply that you tried to grow a magnificent golden sunflower on barren ground. And the bravest, most royal thing you can do now is not to water it more, not to give it more sunlight, but to look at that soil and say, enough. Because some people can only blossom in your dreams, and some truths, once you speak them aloud, will lift the weight of 1,000 worlds from your shoulders. You don't have to keep pretending. You don't have to smile when your heart is weary. You don't have to wait for an applause that will never come. You just need to see, witness it without judgment. Touch the truth like touching the cool, solid gold of your own throne, and let it wash away the illusion. You deserve a love that is real, not just a beautiful script. You deserve someone who is in awe of your light, not someone who simply uses it to see their own reflection. You deserve a world where the truth doesn't make you feel smaller, but helps you stand taller in your power. Leo, you were strong enough to love someone with everything you had. Now, it is time to use that same magnificent heart to come home to yourself. Accept this truth as a grand palace gate swinging open, not a wall, because when you step through it, you will no longer be the performer waiting for validation. You will be the sovereign, the ruler, the radiant sun at the center of your own glorious life. And freedom begins with a quiet, royal decree. No witnesses needed, just you standing in your power, taking a final bow to the dream and saying, I understand. Understand that to love is to keep the eternal flame within yourself burning brightly first. Understand that forgiveness isn't giving them another scene. It's allowing yourself to exit the stage and start a new play. If today you are ready to speak your truth, even if your voice trembles, write it down. I accept the truth that sets me free. Let this be a testament to your first step out of the beautiful illusion. And you know what? That truth is not the end. It is the beginning. Because once you dare to see clearly, you will begin to find your way back to a sacred land no one else has ever walked upon. A place where the light you hold in your heart is yours and yours alone. We'll go there in the next part. Do you remember, magnificent Leo, how brightly you used to shine, just for the joy of it? We're going to find that again, together. There is a very particular kind of pain that only a Leo heart understands. It's the feeling of pouring your golden energy into others, of hearing their silent pleas for warmth, and carrying the responsibility to light up their world as if it were your own. You didn't mean for it to become a burden. It's just that their energy was drawn to yours, like a moth to a flame. And because your heart is as vast and as generous as the sun, you thought you could hold it all. You thought you were a sacred hearth for everyone to gather around, to pour their stories, their wounds, their hopes, and even their emptiness into your fire. You thought that as long as they felt warmer, your own exhaustion didn't matter. As long as they felt seen in your light, it was okay if you started to feel invisible. But my love, have you ever asked yourself, if you give all of your fire away, what remains of the sun? Have you ever looked in the mirror and seen a gaze that has lost its spark? A soul that once radiated its own light now only reflects the needs of others. Leo, you were not born to be a candle, used by others and then snuffed out. You were born to be the sun, not their sun, your sun, the one breathed into your heart by the cosmos before you ever came to this world. Some souls are born to be leaders, to be sources of warmth and courage, and you are one of them. But leading doesn't mean carrying everyone on your back. Lifting others up doesn't mean becoming the floor for them to walk on. You've gotten so used to taking center stage in the role of the strong one. You're skilled at roaring when you want to cry, skilled at shining when you feel dim, skilled at forgiving betrayals that should never have been given a second act. And you call that love. But love doesn't require your self-abdication. Love requires your full, radiant presence, not as a supporting character, but as a sovereign being, with edges, with a voice, with royal boundaries. Has anyone ever told you that boundaries are the highest form of self-love, that not every open gate leads to a sacred kingdom? A holy temple needs walls and guardians, not to keep people out, but to honor the sacred flame that burns within. You've known the truth for a long time, Leo. You've felt it in the subtle dimming of your own spirit, in the way their energy no longer fueled you but drained you. But you couldn't name it, because naming it, facing it, felt like admitting your grand, loving gesture had failed. But a king or queen must choose who is worthy of an audience at their court. Your soul is a star. It wasn't born to be pulled into a dying orbit. It was born to stand still, blazing in the cosmos, reminding lost travelers that a source of light still exists. But even the sun needs its own core to burn. And if you don't return to protect your own source of energy, then one day, your light will flicker, having been used up for everyone else. You are not selfish for pulling back your energy, Leo. You are returning to your sacred role, the keeper of the flame, not the one dragged into the darkness by those who never learned to see in the light. In Buddhist teachings, there is a concept called innate inner radiance. It is the light within every soul. No one gave it to you, and no one has the right to extinguish it unless you hand them the power. And you did. You handed it over, out of love, out of a grand and noble heart. You gave because you believed that if you just shone a little brighter, sacrificed a little more, they would finally see you and cherish you. But you forgot this, my love. Those who cannot see your light will only ever see your ashes, no matter how brightly you burn for them. You did not come here to melt into someone else's story. You came to keep your own soul's flame alive. Because only by ruling yourself can you truly guide those who are genuinely seeking the light. It is time to become a sacred temple for your own soul. Imagine it. You step into the throne room of your own heart. No one else is there, just you and the soft, golden, shimmering glow that is your essence. No more blame, no more performing for an unworthy audience. Only you, born to keep the light, to touch hearts without sacrificing your own in the process. You can stand beside the broken without breaking yourself. You can love without losing your crown. You can say, I am here for you, without erasing the truth of I am. This is your great lesson, Leo. To grow in light, not to diminish in blind devotion. You are fire, but you are also gold. You are powerful, but you were never meant to be taken for granted. If today you feel like your light has been buried for too long, write this down as a vow to your own magnificent soul. I protect the sacred fire within me, because from this moment on, you are no longer the one who performs for love. You are the ancient, eternal flame, blessed by the cosmos, so that wherever you go, a warmth and a regal steadiness follows. And in the journey ahead, you will need this, because the greatest coronation doesn't come from the love someone else gives you, but from the love you finally preserve for yourself. Are you ready? Because this is the most sacred turning point of all. The journey back, not to someone else, but to the throne that has been waiting for you all along. At some point, your royal heart grew weary, not from loving too much, but from performing for too long without an intermission. You're not sad because you lost them. You're sad because you chose to stay for so many encores when your soul was begging to go home. And then, on a quiet morning, you will wake up with no desire to check your phone again. No need to wait for their message. No more excuses. Only a quiet, powerful stillness in your chest, like a lion gathering its strength. And you will know it's time to walk away. For a Leo, this refusal doesn't mean you stopped loving. It means you've loved enough to know that if you stay any longer, you will lose your kingdom. Great love isn't always about staying. Sometimes the greatest love is the courage to make a royal exit, even as your heart trembles. The courage to say no, not to them, but to the old version of you, the one who thought pain was the price of admission to be loved. You don't need to suffer to prove your worth anymore. You used to. You waited for them to see your value. You told yourself, if I'm just a little more generous, a little more forgiving, maybe things will change. But nothing changed because you were trying to change someone from the outside, when true change only ever happens from within. The final refusal, your final decree, doesn't come from anger. It rises from a deep, holy silence. The silence of a soul that has reached its limit and finally understands. Love is not the price you must pay to exist. Love is the gift you receive once you have learned to honor yourself first. When a great snake sheds its skin, it is a rebirth. When a star goes supernova, it is creating new worlds. There is a weightless kind of power in that final act of letting go. No more clinging. No more expectations. Only a soft, powerful whisper remains. I have loved you, and now I leave. Not out of hate, but out of loving myself so deeply that I can no longer continue to dim my own light in a place that is not worthy of my shine. You are growing, Leo. You are shifting. You are letting go, not to lose, but to regain the most sacred thing of all, your whole, radiant self. You once stayed because you loved. Today, you leave, also because you love. You love yourself. You love the peace you were always worthy of. You love the brilliant future you postponed, while waiting for someone who was never going to join you on the journey. And if you feel lonely in this act of reclaiming your power, please know that thousands of souls are whispering their congratulations. Your ancestors are nodding with pride. The universe is looking upon you and saying, "Good, you finally chose yourself. You used to think you had to perform to prove you were sacred. But the truth is, the sacred only begins when you stop. Stop trying to be the savior. Stop living in a beautifully crafted illusion. Stop building a kingdom in the heart of someone who cannot even rule themselves. You did not come here to be diminished. You came here to shine. And so, you walk away. But this time, you don't look back. This time, you don't need closure from them, because you understand the ending was never in their script. The ending was in your peaceful, royal decision. You no longer need confirmation. You don't need an apology. You only need a clear path to begin again. This time, you are walking by the brilliant light within yourself. You have roared enough for others. Now it's time to breathe. You have shone for others. Now it's time to live. If you are feeling these words, and a part of you is cracking open, ready to be reborn, do not be afraid, because in this very moment, a new reign is beginning. Write this so your soul can step through a new golden doorway. I give myself permission to be reborn. Write it to be grateful for all that has shaped you into the magnificent ruler you are today. And that is enough. There is nothing more to say. Only you remain. The one who walked through the shadows and chose the sun. The one who left the stage without needing an applause. The one who lost a role only to reclaim their entire kingdom. Thank you for staying with me through this journey, all the way to the moment of your coronation. I wish you a new chapter, so bright it guides you, so peaceful you can rest in it, and so real that you never again need to prove anything to anyone. You are, and have always been, enough. I would love to hear from you, my beautiful Leo friends. What resonated most deeply with you from this message? Share your insights and your heart in the comments below. By sharing our stories, we empower one another. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Cosmic Wisdom to continue our journey together. We have so much more to share with you. You can tap or click on one of the videos you see on your screen now to dive even deeper into your incredible, limitless Leo potential. Remember, you are the creator of your reality. Go forth and shine.